This video is going to be called internal certainty. So I'm going to explain internal certainty and shifting your subconscious to think from this perspective internally. So because you think like this internally, your external reality, physical, the visual realm will have no choice but to reflect how you feel internally, because as without, so the universe reflects everything you feel internally in an individual's reality, whether they realize it or not. So they are always manifesting everything that people are always manifesting, whether they realize it or not. It's just they operate from looking at life's physical form, this physical form, as literal, when you can just shift it instantly from internal healing and changing. And when I say healing, it's not like individuals are broken. I don't mean in that sense. I just mean healing by emotionally intensifying negative experiences with things or memories. All you have to do to change this is just get in a state of relaxation, whether that's meditation, whatever it is for you, and focus and visualize the memory, and now just visualize it as a good memory or something good happening, and emotionally intensify it with the negativity being emotionally intensely good or emotionally intensely positive. And because it's now shifted to a positive emotionally intense experience, just like that, subconscious will cling to this, because emotions are the language of the subconscious. So are you emotionally intensely feeling something good now? As a visualization, the subconscious will cling on to that. Everything you have in abundance. So by having good internal, intense emotional associations externally in your reality, in your reflection, you will therefore also have good emotionally intense experiences, because this is happening internally and how you feel internally. And you are in your heavenly state internally. So because you're in your heavenly state internally and detached from needing it, from needing as a whole, because you're now in abundant form, you're in your heavenly state, and detached from it, your desired reality or your manifestation now attracts to you even faster, because you have the internal certainty that you are this now, and you're detached from that certainty, making it attract even faster. So people are obsessed with action and ignore their frequency, but ignorance repels reality. You have to be a frequency first and the action after. Now, people might be like, what does that mean? That just essentially means before you do an action, ask, before every action or everything you do, what would the desired reality version of you do? So what would that version of you do? Whatever that version of you would do, whatever thought or intuition comes into your head, that is your desired reality. So by doing that, you're now on the frequency of your desired reality. So because you're now on the new frequency, which is your desired reality, you will now have new results in the action, because you're operating from the frequency of your desired reality. You're not operating from the frequency before. You're operating from the new frequency, therefore creating new results. So you are the cause, and the new cause alters an effect. So rather than people thinking they have to work hard externally in reality, which is the illusion realm, they don't have to work hard. They just have to internally, they just have to internally have certainty that they are their desired reality, then detach from it, and then in reality operate and do things from that version of themselves, from that frequency of themselves, just by before doing anything, any action, just ask before the action, what would my desired reality version of me do? Or what would a version of me that already has everything I need do? And because you're operating from that abundant version or that desired version of yourself, there isn't any lack. So again, the cause is now changed, the frequency is changed, therefore altering the result. The result is the effect. Cause alters the effect. New frequency, new result. Same concept, just um, to explain to you. So everyone's focused on doing rather than emotional energy, alignment, perception. And they say trapped in the reality realm because of their ignorance or because they ignore the frequency. They think they are that internally, but then don't operate from that version of themselves internally. They then begin to operate from the old version of themselves. So therefore that contradicts because they're not acting from that version of themselves, and that new version of themselves is just a new frequency, which is just a new awareness. New frequency is just a new awareness of themselves, which then creates new results. So instead of focusing on doing, just bring a new frequency. You can't bring the same current frequency to things you're doing and expect a change or a new reality. You have to shift internally to the new frequency. So with everything that you are then doing from when you are your frequency onwards, every action you are then doing, ask before the action, what would the abundant version of me do in this situation? What would the version of me, what would my desired reality version of me do in this situation? What would the manifested version of me do in this situation? And that, because you're always operating from that frequency internally, you're always operating from that version of yourself, your desired reality will attract, because again, you're detached from it, but the certainty of operating from this version of yourself will attract it way quicker. So once wanting someone or something, claim it internally and feel how you would feel if you've done it internally before reality proves it to you. So once you want something or someone, claim it internally. Say you have now done this internally. Feel it internally, so emotionally intensify with it, positivity, and then now act as the version of you that's done that internally. So now act as the manifested version of you that's done that internally. And let's say now from that point onwards, it's the next day of that event happening. So now you already feel accomplished, you've already done it because you're operating from it already happening. And anything you have everything you have in abundance. So because this has happened to you, it will keep happening because everything you have in abundance. And then detach from it, and because you claimed it internally and felt it internally, and now have done it internally, because by operating from the next day, by telling your brain internally you're operating from the next day of it happening, so it's already happened. Internally, it's already happened. If it's already happened internally, your reality reflects your internal. So therefore, in externally, it will then happen because you're detached from it, you're certain of it, and internally you have shifted to this version of yourself. So allow the thought to consume you. Like I said, focus on the thought, allow it to consume you. Put your attention on the thought, visualize the thought, detach from it and have certainty that it's happened, and be that version of you and that frequency of you before the world proves it to you. Because now you are the new frequency. Frequency, which is awareness. So frequency or awareness activates your internal strategy of how it happened. So that visualization in your head is vivid now, and you have that memory looping in your head. Attention is alignment. So your frequency and being that version of yourself will cause the strategy to happen leading up to that visualization in your head that you have been focused on. Operating from the new frequency and that version of yourself will create the events leading up to it. And then because you're detached from it and have internal certainty that you're operating from this version of yourself, you therefore attract that visualization faster because you're detached from it and there's certainty. And it's all internal. There's internal, emotionally intense feelings attached to it, which are positive. And this frequency and certainty is also part of this heavenly state of yourself internally. So by being this version of yourself and having internal certainty, your desired reality has no choice but to obey you, and it will then reflect externally, and that is internal certainty explained in 12 minutes.